Hey, traders out there in Traderland, D7 here with Grok Trade, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We're going to start off with the monthly charts, looking at the S&P 500 first, the Spiders ETF, and if you look here, we're dropping down, lower high, lower low on the monthly chart. Monthly chart, every bar is 1 month. Back in January, I said, hey man, chances are with this tweezer type, we got a high. We broke a lot of support levels with trend lines. And we had bearish divergences on the MACD oscillator, centered oscillator, and also on the RSI oscillator, banded oscillator. And that told us that chances are we were putting in high, and sure enough, we got that. And we have roughly a 14 to 15% drop as of the time of this video from the highs. So 15%, 10% is a market correction, 20% is a bear market. We're there. Getting very, very close. So here's the big question on the spiders is we do have a lower high, lower low. We do have that. Is this an inverted hammer? But this candlestick we cannot pay a lot of attention to. The reason we cannot pay a lot of attention to this candlestick is because we're only 1 week into the month. This thing could sizably change on us in a big way. Now, the big question to me is, are we going to head back down and hit this trend line? This is a pretty important trend line. This trend line coming across here. Let me show this to you. If I bring in a lot of data here, you'll see what I'm talking about. Go to a line chart. You can see this goes back to 2012, and then 2014, all of 2014, 2015. Right here, 2018, again here in 2020. So this line has been challenged many, many times, and the question is, will we get back down to this line? And I mean, the jury's out on that. We could certainly do that. If we're still going to bleed out here, we could head down to this area, which would probably put us in a technical bear market, being down 20% from the highs. But I don't know if we'll be able to make it. If we go to the diamond, same thing. If you look here, it's just a nice bull pullback on the monthly chart. There is no support. I mean, this thing could get nasty fast coming down here to revisit these trend lines. Because the trend lines will act as gravity spots. If you look at the Nasdaq, here's the Nasdaq. Again, this looks like an inverted hammer. The reason it's not is because it's still it's a dynamic candlestick, meaning it's still moving. It's not yet static. For that reason, we have to ignore it. But at this moment, this snap in time, it's definitely an inverted hammer, more bullish and is bearish, but we cannot lean into that at all. The only support levels that I see here would be this swing low, which puts us at that major trend line. So there is nothing supporting the monthlies right now from really bleeding out for all of March. That is interesting. If you go here to the Russell's 2000, we pull back. We're coming down to the 50%. I mean, look at this. The next area of support are these moving averages right here and this area, which puts us at the 50% Fibonacci trend pullback level. See this? Fibonacci pullback, 50%. So the monthlies are telling me that we have a really good chance of continuing lower again here in May. If I said March, my bad. May could get really nasty. So that's something that I'm looking at. But the jury is out. So financials giving us a doji right now. But again, we have to ignore that candlestick. The only support it has is this trend line, which is a small one, doesn't amount to a lot. It's this big one down there. That is, I mean, that's a really interesting play here. I mean, 50% puts us even below that number. Wow. So on the monthlies, guys, all major moving indices have nothing supporting them. This market could still crash down lower. There's no support. Doesn't mean it's going to. We could find support if more buyers and sellers come into the markets, causing market makers having to buy up or start to sell their holdings to make an equal market for this market to stay afloat. But anyway, this is so interesting. The other thing I like to do is go over to the weekly charts. The weeklies really help us see a lot. to say, what can we expect? Here's the spiders weekly. Here's the problem. We had this beautiful falling wedge, kind of a bear flag falling wedge. And the problem is, 2 weeks ago, we broke a major area of support. And by the way, thank you, Mark, for sitting in for me last weekend. I was in Vegas at a fund conference. And if you look here, we're down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. So statistically, this is ready to rally back. And it could. I mean, we broke a major area of support. Didn't surprise me that we went lower. But how much lower can this go? I'm not sure. We have increased volume here, a lot of increased volume on the weekly. But I'm starting to see what could be a bullish divergence on the oscillators. So if this bounces and heals itself this next week, closing above this trend line, that could be a great little jab. And this could get bullish and quickly for the next few weeks, at least until this trend line up here. So that's something I'm watching for. Like right now, if I'm looking at this face value, we broke support 2 weeks ago. You got to walk away from this. This is bad news. This market is in a lot of trouble. The monthly says we got more downside to go. This could get nasty and quick. However, the only bullish opportunity there is if we get a jab. A jab is where we break down below a trend line but immediately heal itself. If you do that, it could get pretty bullish here. I'm not sure that's what's going to happen. Not sure. Let's see if the diamonds tells us anything. If you look here, diamonds is at a major area of support. We're actually a little bit below it. I don't like it. See this? If you blow this up on the line, we're below it. So we broke support this week on the diamond. So that's saying that we got a lot of weakness, guys. Like this area of support broke. Look for this to drop. Nasdaq broke support. Look at this. It also broke support this week. Bad, but down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Statistically, that's very extended. Look for a bounce. If it does bounce, again, that jab could get really bullish and quickly if, in fact, we get this. I'm really looking for a close next week above 314. And on the Qs, guys, if we break 300, all bets are off. If we break 300, this market is toast. I'm just telling you guys. Just keep that in mind, okay? Russell's 2000. Yep, broke it 2 weeks ago. This week continued lower. We do have the 200 week moving average coming up that could act as maybe some support. Very, very weak, guys. Very, very weak. Financials. What's the financials doing? Nothing. It broke 2 weeks ago, and we doji out. We're down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So instead of being down 5 weeks, we're down 6 weeks. That's problematic for the markets, but it's down so much that it's due for a bounce. But look at all the overhead resistance we're going to contend with. No good, but I think we might get a bounce. MACD is starting to cross over. Histogram is starting to tick higher. We got a bullish hook here on the RSI. Same thing on this RSI. Yeah, I mean, guys, looking good on the weekly. On the financials, if the financials rally, especially getting back about 35.5 on the financials XLF. If we get a close there next week, look for this thing to rally higher. So that everything hinges here on the financials. That's what we're looking for. Gold weekly, down at a major area of support, buying opportunity, it looks like. Silver under a lot of stress, big sell-up at a major support, buying opportunity on silver. VIX went up on the weekly, but look at this. It closed above a major trend line on the weekly, but this last week we came back down. That's the jab healing itself. And in this case, you could see fear VIX dropping lower here. If so, that means the markets are rising higher. Bitcoin, big drop at the time of this video, which is still moving now. We're down a lot on the weekly chart. We're way down. Major support comes up right here in this area. So that area right there, you can see here, I'm looking major weekly support. am I going to be looking myself to buy? Maybe. So we're really getting close to that area. It's a major area of support. That might be a buy area, but I've got some algorithms. My algorithms tell me if I'm going to be buying or not, right? My algorithms. So I'm watching those really closely. Those algorithms, woo, rock solid. Liking it. So anyway, yeah. So there it is. We can pause with this. So overall, guys, if you made it, here's what you can get from everything I just shared. That even though the weeklies are very extended to the downside, meaning statistically they should be ready to bounce, the monthlies say there's no support underneath, that we should still go lower. So I'm thinking that we could get a day or two, maybe even 3, of bullish activity, but it could be very short-lived. So in other words, the weeklies have dropped so much that it's going to take a day or a week here to pop up, or at least a few days to pop up, to let some of that selling steam out, and for it to reload to the downside yet again, so the monthly can bleed out, because we're really, really extended to the downside on the weekly. So the dailies are all over the place. They've just been in a torrential down trend because of this last month. April was brutal month. Big drop. So I just think that we have a good chance of rallying up. It'd be interesting to see if the VIX will come back down. I mean, the VIX time of this video is at 30. It's pretty high, man. That's a lot of fear out there at 30. So, and what's interesting is correlation you're seeing right now with Ethereum, Bitcoin, and a lot of the bigger stable coins in crypto. They are very much aligned and correlated with the major markets. And the large part of that is due because Wall Street has adopted them, and Wall Street's trading it now, right? So if Wall Street's bearish, this crypto is seeming to be bearish. But what a time we live in. Gas prices, we haven't seen these levels of pricing in a long time. It's been 40 plus years since we've had this level of inflation. Just insane times in which we live. And most of the people watching this video has never experienced this level of inflation before. Not that you can remember. So, again, it's going back 40 plus years that we've had this level of inflation that we're dealing with. So markets are everything's dropping. It's interesting to see that housing market, last 5 months, pending home sales have been decreasing. And but the job market's still holding in there, right? Job market is still fairly strong in comparison. So anyway, if you made it, say made it in the comments. Only you and I will know that you made it, and everyone else that you said made it in there. So, but for all your moms and who are listening, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to you. I'm doing this on Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. I hope it was a grand day for you. But all in all, feel free to follow and share the video if you think anybody might be able to benefit from this. Take care, guys, and we'll see you later. Bye.